when I shifted that mindset to I'm no longer going to be a victim. I'm no longer going to allow my childhood to dictate the way that I react to things. And it's not going to be an excuse to react this way. It's not going to be an excuse to just remain in my same circumstance for the rest of my life. I chose to not be a victim anymore. Almost my entire adulthood, I have been a victim to my childhood. And I've used that as a crutch, as an excuse for my behavior and for a lack of success. And, you fill in the blank. I've used it as an excuse. And truthfully, until I changed my mindset, until I decided not to be a victim to my circumstance, when I decided to not be a victim to my childhood and the trauma that I experienced, business was not doing well. But I swear to you, this is the craziest thing. Mindset is so important. So is the power of words. But when I shifted that mindset to I'm no longer going to be a victim. I'm no longer going to allow my childhood to dictate the way that I react to things. And it's not going to be an excuse to react this way. It's not going to be an excuse to just remain in my same circumstance for the rest of my life. I chose to not be a victim anymore. And it's changed my life. It's changed my business too. I've seen such a transformation all over the place just by changing that mindset away from being a victim. And it's sad because I see it a lot in our world today. Like a lot of people just, and I want to say this, it's easy to fall into this. It's easy to fall into victimhood. But I think what's really key is to just have an awareness. Just be aware of the way that you're reacting and ask yourself, why am I reacting the way I'm reacting? I've been going through a lot of healing lately, mentally. I've been going through, I guess just to be vulnerable, I went through a lot when I was a kid. And I used to think the way to deal with trauma or like something bad that happened or some sort of pain was to, you tell a friend, you've talked about it, you've gotten it out, and now it's dealt with. And then you can move on, and then that, whatever that is, goes away. But I've learned in the last few months, really, that I was very wrong. And I've been going and seeing a counselor for the last couple of months. And to be fully honest, at first I was really against it. I thought it wasn't really necessary. I also didn't want to admit that I needed it, because then that would mean there's something wrong with me. What I've learned instead, though, is it's not there was something wrong with me. It's that I went through a lot and I never got a chance to process things in a healthy way. What I found is that the way that I coped with pain and the way that I coped with trauma was just really unhealthy. And I really just needed to heal. And I needed to talk to someone who knew how to get me healed. And it's been such an incredible journey. I have learned so much about myself. It's helped me realize trends in the way that I think in my thought life. It's helped me analyze different emotions. I might get angry sometimes. Well, I used to think, well, why am I such an angry person? But I've learned it's actually, I'm sad. And because of the way that I grew up and the way I was treated and punished when I was little, I wasn't heard. And I was a sad little boy who wanted to be heard. And the only way that I got attention was by being angry, by being loud. And so that carried over into my adulthood. And so it wasn't that I'm an angry person, it's that I didn't know how to express the way I felt. And I believe that a lot of this is all tied together. It all ties into business and being successful. It ties into relationships. It ties into your creativity. It's all connected. And I've just learned that I need to get up here healthy so I can do greater things. Because I know that I've barely scratched the surface of what God has for me. And getting healed is one big step in the direction of seeing the promises that I know He has for me. And it's been an amazing journey so far. My counselor says it's my healing journey. And it is. It's my healing journey. And I just want to encourage you guys too, that if you've gone through things, if you have trauma, you should talk to someone, because it could change your life. And I believe that there's things out there that you're not experiencing because you're stuck. You're stuck like I was stuck. And I want this for you guys too. I want you guys to be free. I want you guys to be healed of trauma. Because it's such a good feeling. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not always easy. It's not butterflies and rainbows the whole time. There's been some hard parts, and there's been things that have come out that I didn't even know about. And that's been an interesting thing too, because I know you hear from people like, oh yeah, I figured this thing out that happened to me when I was 5 years old, and I'm 40 years old now, and I just now discovered it. And I remember thinking like, come on, that's not really real, or that's not possible. But man, I can attest to it. I experienced it. There was a memory that came up that I must have suppressed to defend, as a defense mechanism. And we dealt with that. And I bawled like a baby. I absolutely bawled. And what was really cool is while I was just processing and feeling that emotion, my counselor was like, this is healing. Your tears are a part of you being healed. And there was something that he said, and I'll just be honest with you guys. I don't mind just being honest and vulnerable. I was hit a lot when I was little. I was a very emotional child, and more emotional than my siblings. And so I got beat. And sometimes my mom would hold me down on the ground. She'd basically put my hands against the ground like this, and my legs were pinned down as well, and I couldn't get up, and she'd just hold me down. And she'd say, I'm holding you down here until your dad gets home so he can deal with you. But I remember just feeling so powerless and stuck, and almost like I'm going to suffocate. And my dad would come home and he'd spank me out of anger, or there were times that he would punch me in the face. And I'm okay with this. I don't mind sharing this. I think it's important to share our stories and our testimonies, because there's healing that comes from stories. But I remember thinking as a little kid that I must be really bad. While we went through this memory, I was thinking to myself, man, I must be such a bad child. What's wrong with me? Because my siblings don't get hit like this. They don't get pinned down. But I do, so I must be so bad. I must deserve this. I must be a really bad kid. And I've gone through most of my life thinking, I would tell people I was a bad kid. I was convinced that I deserved that treatment. And sorry. And in his office, while we were talking about it, I was crying. Here I am again. It was something really simple. He was because I was saying how I felt I must have been a really bad kid. I must have deserved it. And he just said, no, you didn't. You didn't deserve it. It wasn't right. No kid should be hit like that. And just to be justified, to have someone see you and say, no, that wasn't okay. You didn't deserve that. It was so healing for me. And after that time, and we finished the session, and I was about to walk out, and I just felt lighter. I felt physically lighter, because I know that Jesus in that moment took that off of me. And again, I just think there's so much power in stories and in testimonies. And I know there's people out there that have gone through a much worse even. They've gone through trauma, and you've gone through hurt, and you're stuck because you believe a lie about yourself that you deserve that treatment, or you were a bad child, so you needed to be punished. I just know that you need healing. And Just like one of my past videos I said in that voiceover, because God has really been dealing with me a lot lately, and he's been really teaching me a lot about the concept of being his son and just the idea of him being a proud father. And I know that he sees you the same way. Whoever you are that's watching, he sees you the same way as his son, as his daughter. And you have value and you're loved. And he wants you free, and he wants you to experience the fullness of his love, and he wants you to experience the fullness of the blessings that he has, the things that he's called you to, the greatness that he's called you to. I want you guys to experience that too, and I want to see you guys get healed. And I guess that's why I'm sharing this, because I know that stories are powerful and testimonies help change lives. Telling this story shows you guys how good he is. That he has the power to heal, and he has the power to restore, whether it's restore memories, restore relationships. He has the power to heal broken hearts, and he's just so good through the process. He knows for me, like, I needed him to be gentle and do it over a period of time, and I wouldn't probably be able to handle all of it at once. And so he's been so patient throughout the entire process of my healing journey. And he's been such a good father. And I just want the same thing for you guys. Healing is a process. It's a journey. And God is so faithful in the process. He's patient, and he's kind, and he's loving. And he's so good. I mean, it's just transformed the way that I look at him now. This journey has. And I can see him there with me in those moments that I experienced. He wants you free.